totally different groups of people invited to this, and I want to kind of set the tone of why we decided to do this. Dalton's on here, and Dalton and I did, and he just went through some medical stuff, right? And it was a heart attack, and he's going to share his story, and it's amazing, and you're going to want to hear it. And when I was in the military, we used to have to do a lot of physical activity, and my chest would hurt, and I used to think, am I getting a heart attack? Like, I don't know if it's a guy thing, but since the military, anytime I feel something weird in my chest, I'm like, is that normal? So after Dalton's experience, we were on a phone call and we just started talking. I'm like, dude, when did it start hurting? And he just broke it down and highlighted like a month. Like, he's going to explain more, but I'm like, oh gosh, like that's what you need to look for. And I'm like, we got to do a Zoom for Men's Health. And then he's obviously got a good ketone story. The other gentleman, Aaron, he's absolutely amazing. He's lost 100 pounds, and he dabbled with ketones for a minute, came and went, and he's got an amazing story as well. Okay, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Justin. I've been drinking ketones a little over 5 years. I was in law enforcement when I first started drinking ketones. And, you know, the guy that you're seeing right now has evolved into kind of like the business side. But at the beginning, it's hard for me to relate sometimes when I talk to people because I'm so excited about ketones. But at the very beginning, there were some hesitations and there were some things I needed to work through personally to really understand what this was. So this Zoom is designed for the average bear. Okay, we have ex-law enforcement, we have IT, to a construction worker going to share tonight. This is as real as you get. So I'm going to start with Aaron. Is that cool, Aaron?
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Okay. Aaron and I met through Prove It, right? And the cool thing about this community that you're going to see is, yes, it's a product, and we'll explain more details about the product itself, but there is a community. You don't need to be part of it. I get it, whatever. But what we've found is there's a lot of men out there doing life by themselves. And if you have somebody to talk to, like a real life human being guy that you jive with, that knows your journey, that can give you tips and tricks, maybe has went through the same things. Like, you know, my history is general anxiety disorder, major depression, you name it, I've done it. I've been broken, absolutely broken. And each one of these guys that are going to share have they're just different pieces of the puzzle. And collectively, we have a community called Prove It. So most people just dabble with the product. Aaron, I'm going to have you introduce yourself and kind of give them your story. And then we'll open it up for questions at the end. Dalton, you're going to close us out, and then we'll do questions afterwards.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining. Thank you, Justin, for the introduction. You know, we kind of doing this weekly Zoom thing, trying to do different topics every week. And me, Justin, and Tabitha were trying to think of what this week's Zoom would be about. And they said Men's Health. And I'm like, great. Well, who are we going to have speak? And they're like, you're going to speak. And I'm like, see, I'm not a good speaker. I do my best. So, and I always yell at Justin for saying I get nervous or whatever, but because then you speak that stuff into existence. But, you know, I got introduced to ketones. I don't know. This time around, I started August 2nd. So probably the end of 2021, or August somewhere of 2021, I came across ketones from a guy sharing that I followed on TikTok, and I thought I'd give it a shot. I had no idea about the business, nor did I want to do the business. I just wanted to lose some weight. And then I was 405 pounds and I was miserable. you know, every waking existence kind of sucked. And you know, I come from the recovery world as well. Um, and there's a lot mentally that is a great place to deal with mental issues. But it doesn't fix everything. Um, you know, and so back to the first ketone journey. I drank them for about 7 months. And lost about 70 pounds pretty quickly. And I never shared my journey. I knew nothing about the community. And August around there, I got the opportunity to become a longshoreman. And I was going through that training, and I could barely do the work. And, you know, at 405 pounds, I was miserable. I was hurting. And I told myself that if I was going to do this job, I needed to lose some weight. And I went back to what I knew. You know, I had previously lost 125 pounds, eating a strict diet, working out 6 days a week. And that's just not me. I hate, you know, strict. I mean, I'm not going to stick to it long term. And so I went back to ketones, quickly lost all the weight again. Lost 100 pounds, like Justin said. But I was still, like, when I started, I was in a bad place. You know, I was depressed, got caught up into the political realm, you know, fighting with everybody on social media, trying to save the world. And it just became a miserable place. You know, I can't save myself, let alone save somebody else. So, you know, ketones have, like, I mean, I'm not going to say that they directly changed my mindset, but the community and the work that I've done from that has helped my mental state considerably. You know, I do my best to stay positive. I stay away from the media. I got rid of TV, in fact, you know, so I just try to live on a positive place, you know, and try to uplift other people, share my journey along the way, and, you know, just live life to the fullest, because that's what it's all about, you know. So
Yes, sir. So if you were to give a tip to a gentleman who orders a box, like, what would your biggest tip be if they're like, hey, I'm going to give this the old college try? You know, whether you want to talk about mindset, you could say how you drank them or whatever, but what would your biggest tip be for them to start? And then we'll come back around at the end.
I would definitely say give yourself a chance. And you know, I said earlier to Justin when I was talking to him that, you know, most guys are stubborn. They try to do stuff on their own. And they just like to solve problems themselves and not ask for help. And I would say the biggest advice I would give is to reach out, whether it's get involved with the community or, like Justin said, find that one guy that you connect with and have that as a support, because we all know that it's a lot easier to walk away from something when you don't have support, because those thoughts keep coming back into your head of, I can't do this, you know. So I think support is huge, wherever you find that avenue at.
That's a good one. I like that. I was thinking maybe you were going to be like, wake up in the morning and at 8 a.m., shake up your first ketone. But I think mindset's the most important. Awesome. So Dalton, um, this is how this whole thing started. So do you want to introduce yourself? Kind of, just rip, and I'll throw you some softballs if you miss something. But your story is amazing by itself, and I feel like some of these gentlemen should hear it.
Yeah, for the guys that don't, or guys and gals that don't know me, I'm Dalton. I'm a heavy equipment operator. Man, just like every other guy out there, I go work, come home, take care of my kids, and hang out with the family. I started drinking ketones a few years ago. They started working for me. I started feeling better. Well, then I quit drinking them. Some life stuff happened. I quit drinking them for I would say about a year, and my health just went out of control. Um, well, then I started talking to Justin again, started drinking them again, and I started feeling better. Not just like weight wise, but just mentally. I mentally felt better. Mentally felt like I could go work a 13, 14-hour day and come home and deal with my crazy kids.
Why was that?
And
Mom, what was that?
yep, get up here. And so I started getting my health back on track, and I just started having these chest pains at work. I sit in a piece of machinery all day, and in my head I'm just like, oh, it's probably nothing. It's nothing that I need to worry about. Well, a week goes by, it's still there and getting worse. Say hi.
Hi.
And a week goes by, it gets worse. The second week goes by. Do what?
What did it feel like? What did that first initial like?
It just felt uncomfortable.
Hi.
It just felt really uncomfortable. Like uncomfortable to the beat of my heart. Like I could feel every beat. And it was just, I knew something was probably wrong, but in my head, I'm just like, I need to toughen up a bit and carry on with life. And week 3 goes by, and it's getting worse by the day. And by the end of week 3, I'm sitting inside my excavator, and I just hit my knees. I couldn't breathe, and it hurt to walk. It hurt to anything. If I sat down, I'd be uncomfortable and pain, but tolerable. Like I could handle it. But if I just went to just stand up out of my chair, I would hit my knees in tears. And I still, at that point, still didn't seek help. I still didn't go to the hospital. I was working in the middle of nowhere, had no cell service, and I was like, I'll be okay. I promised my fiance that I would, if that pain came back, because it went away for a week, and I promised her that if any kind of pain came back, I'd go see the doctor. I stood up and my chest felt funny. So I was like, I might as well go in. I'm home for the week. Went in and I wasn't there but 10 minutes and I got airlifted to Boise. And my heart was producing enough protein. A standard level was 15 to 25. Mine was up in the 3,000 range. And that means your heart's either trying to recover from damage or it's just overstraining itself. And so went to the hospital and they were like, all right, we want to know everything you do from it, like the ground up. Like, what's the first thing you do? Wake up in the morning. I was like, well, I drank a ketone. I go to work around lunchtime. I eat a protein bar and drink another ketone. And then I just continue about my day, go home, eat dinner, drink a non-caffeinated ketone, hang out with the family, go to bed. And one doctor was like, "Oh, what's a ketone?" And my fiance drove down, and she just got there, and she had one in her purse. And so she gave it to the doctor, and he's like, there was only one doctor out of like the 9 I've seen that's never heard of ketones. and he did some research. He wanted to try some, so I gave him that pack. And all my other doctors, my cardiologist, every one of them was like, I kind of got concerned thinking it was because of ketones, because of the caffeinated ketones that I was drinking. And the doctors told me without any medication, the best thing for me to do is continue drinking them and don't stop. And that was a big eye opener for me. And that's when I was like, man, I need to look more into these and put more of an effort into my health, because I'm not very active. I sit in a piece of machine all day. So here I am. My heart's doing a lot better. I had my last checkup last week, and I got to see the same doctors, and I ended up sharing more ketones with more doctors and nurses while I was over there. And so ketones has not only changed my life to give me more time with my kids and more energy, but it's probably what saved me, to be honest. So
Awesome. And I don't know if it's my place, but you're on like this mission now, like you're working out.
Oh, yeah, I'm if I don't go to the gym first thing in the morning before I go to work, I go after work. I make sure I go at least every day. My little one, my 2-year-old, if I do an at-home workout, she does one with me, so it gives me more time with my kids also. Just doing some kind of fun activity. But yeah, I'm on a mission not just to share ketones, but to make sure. For most guys, it's like, it's my worry. I don't need to tell no one about it. I don't need to seek help. But I want to make sure that, especially in the blue collar world out there running heavy machinery, they think they're the toughest of the toughest, and it's okay to seek help. And I want to make sure that my goal is to help people like that. So because I'm young, I'm 27, I shouldn't be going through hard issues like this. And so I want to make sure I reach as many people as I can and help prevent them from going through what I went through.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, the part of this that's incredible is I think I talked to you like before the airlift, right? And
Yeah,
I was
you
on,
FaceTime me just to check in to see what I was doing that Saturday or whatever it was. And you're all like, wait, are you in the hospital?
that's exactly what I said.
Because we talked,
Yeah.
I think, an hour before I was in the hospital and then an hour or two afterwards.
Yeah. So the part of this whole thing is, when Dalton and I first started talking again, and for him to say when he's at home doing a home workout, those are two totally different people than
Yes.
the place he's at now. And I'm rah about this whole thing, but this guy meets guys at the gas pump every morning when he's filling up his machine. Has conversations with other guys who do what he does. So watching people literally transform, I know this sounds like crazy snake oily, but the product itself puts you in ketosis when you drink it. I'm going to come back around to you guys too. But when you drink the ketones, your body absorbs them and you're in therapeutic ketosis. And that sounds like, what is that? All your friends doing the keto diet, you might have even done the Atkins diet. People are doing intermittent fasting. All of these little tricks and things are designed to get your body to create ketones. Your liver grabs fat, creates ketones. And when you have ketones in your blood, you feel better. Like if you ever met somebody who does the keto diet or whatever, and they're all like, you got to try it. Then they eat a hamburger and their assholes for a week. It's because they're doing this hardcore crazy diet to get ketones in their body. We have a version that you drink and your body absorbs. They were created by NASA, or they're created by the Department of Defense and DARPA. And DARPA is, a defense company for soldiers when they were diving. They would seize while diving, and they found out if they put them on the keto diet, they had ketones and they didn't seize. So the government said, here's a bunch of money, figure out how to put them in ketosis. They came up with beta hydroxybutyrate. We have the only naturally fermented version, and we have exclusive rights to release it. So people drink ketones for completely different reasons, but at the end of the day, you're running on ketones instead of carbs and sugar. If you're eating carbs and sugar, your brain, your heart, and your muscles prioritize ketones over that. So for me, I just am like on a little over 50-pound weight loss journey. Now that I'm where I want to be, I eat like a 5-year-old. Okay. I'm not saying that because it's going to do that for everybody, but I eat in smaller windows and I use ketones to put the food like lunchtime instead of snacking all day. I was a first responder when I first started. I just started drinking them in the car because I always had an energy drink. Always had an energy drink in my center console. And a lot of dudes that I deal with, they don't want to work out, they don't want to do the things, blah, 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 blah. And all I'm trying to do is say, dude, you got to try ketones, put it in place of that. Like, just try it. So, the best application for the average bear is to wake up in the morning, drink some water, get hydrated while you go to the bathroom, take your vitamins, do whatever, and then drink a ketone when you're ready to start getting things done. If you're a coffee drinker, drink a coffee first, then drink your ketones. That'll actually help absorption with the caffeine. Like, just plug this into your life. We'll worry about the rest later. Dalton was not doing at-home workouts with his daughter when we started at all. I think he was maybe even dodging my calls. I don't know. But this is just little baby steps, little wins. And if you go back and look at, I thought I had a picture. Where I started, I do. That's where I started the first time. I was a hungry fella, and I wasn't going to do a lot of things, but I was willing to shake up ketones, drink them, and then I started there. So for men, I think this is one of the best things because you're not going to be as hungry. The sugar cravings that you have, I'm getting ready to get off work and I'm going to smash 2 McChickens on the way home and throw the garbage away so my wife doesn't see it. Okay. You're not going to want to do that. Drink a ketone before you leave work. You'll drive right home. And you might even have enough energy to play with your kids and not be grumpy. It's just your body's preferred fuel source in a drink. That's it. It's got some caffeine. If you don't want caffeine, you can get caffeine free. All the rest of the stuff is really just support products. So, Dalton, you kind of heard what Aaron had to offer. If you were to, if some guy, comes to you with his box and he's like, okay, what do I do? What would you tell him? What would you want them to know?
Want them, man, there is so much to know. It's crazy. I can go on so many different rampages. One of my biggest things I tell a lot of people is, even when it comes down to just the drink, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to, and so what I tell them, they're like, oh, well, can't you drink too many of them? No, it's just like a vitamin. Whatever your body doesn't use, you're just gonna get rid of anyway. Your body has a way of getting rid of stuff your body doesn't need. So just drink them, give it a shot. What's it gonna hurt, really? I used to drink 3 Red Bulls a day, and I haven't had one in, I don't know, going on 3 years now. So, and that's why I tell everybody at the gas station. My goal is if I'm at the gas station and I see someone walking out with a Red Bull, I make sure I give them a pack. I have an extra ketone in my truck at all times, for that reason. So it's, I don't know. Just give them a shot. There's no reason why you can't try it. What's it gonna hurt, really?
Awesome. Started Chelsea. I know you work at a gas station. We need to talk. So, so Aaron, I'm gonna ask I'm just gonna run this by you two, Dalton, so you can start thinking. How do you drink your ketones, or maybe how did you start? Whatever you would like to just peekaboo to a dude what it looks like.
I simply drink a caffeinated one within 20 minutes of me waking up every morning. And I drink a non-caffeinated or caffeinated, depending on what I'm doing, around 3:30, and just rinse and repeat every day. In terms of eating wise, I incorporate intermittent fasting. Basically, window to eat 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. I usually eat dinner around 5 or 6 anyway. So, and then, don't eat anything until 11 a.m. So, yeah, it's pretty simple. And then I fast or do reboot, or I fast once a month.
What's up, man?
Is this the part where I'm supposed to tell you that I used to drink pot of coffee a day and that was not enough? And now I just I don't leave the house without the ketone in the shaker bottle. Keep a couple in the center console because you never know. It's awesome. She said, "Drink."
What do you do for a living?
Man, that is the loadedest question. I'm a field technician for a company that does rental equipment. So lots of time in the truck, long days, 12, 14-hour days are pretty normal. It's a long one. And I don't like to.
Ketones before. Did you have a preconceived idea like snake oil? Oh my God.
Well, I mean, who didn't?
Yeah.
You said
I'd
here.
Share that because I think we all did. And it's important to get to the other side of that.
She said, "Here, try this. Let me know what you think." And then a couple days later, I'm like, "Hey, you got another one of those?" I mean, a feller just tends to be a little grumpy, and it tends to help with that. So on those days where I know it's been a rough one at work and I got stuff to do at home, just mix up another one. It's a 20-minute drive home. Make sure you drink it on the way home. I've already been on the road all day. I don't need to be taking it out on mom and the kids.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Little attitude adjustment hour keeps the guy focused. I used to smoke a pack a day in the trucks. Got a new truck and they're like, "Hey, try not smoking in it." And I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, I almost put it in a ditch 3 times. I don't leave the shop without my little go juice. Helps me keep up with the younger kids.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
He's more consistent than me. Like there's days where he comes home and he'll be like, "I had 2 ketones today." And I always stock his truck now. So he's got ketones in his truck. He looks like he does crack in his truck now instead of smoke cigarettes. There's powder all over it. But he will call me and be like, "Did you drink your ketone today? I'm on my 3rd one." And I'm like, "No." And we've been doing this for 3 years now. And so the fact that he's still drinking it more consistently than I am says something. Like
I'll
won't
miss a Saturday or a Sunday because I like to sleep in, and then I'm just off my routine. I don't go to work without it.
Right on. Awesome. Thank you. All right, Dalton. Let's give us your rundown on how you drink them, and then we'll close this thing up. I appreciate you guys watching this long and staying on, and if you're watching the replay, appreciate you.
My days start really early, usually around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I drink it well before I leave the house. So my first one is well before I leave the house, make sure I'm, awake and ready to go. I do the intermediate fasting as well, so I don't eat till noon. Noon hits and I have either a protein bar or some kind of high protein snack. Then drink another caffeinated ketone because usually I'm feeling sluggish by then. And I don't want to be biting my guys' heads off. So, and then by the end of the day, if I pack one, I usually drink one on the way home just so that I know I can come back and hang up my kiddos, have plenty of energy, or I drink one right when I get home. So I drink 3 a day, but my last one's a non-caffeinated one usually.